Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Kids love it. John Carpenter approved. Watched any good movies?
Not really. I watched Return to the Planet of the Apes, the old OG sequel.
Hell yeah.
It's okay.
Isn't that the one where they move to the Forbidden, like they go to the Forbidden Zone and find the mutant people, like the underground mutant people?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the second.
I like
or no,
that
that
one.
might be. I watched 2 and 3. I think that one's 2.
I always mix those, like the 2 and 3 up with each other.
Yeah, because is the one with the mutant people the one where Roddy McDoyle's in it, or is that the one with Charlton Heston still in it?
Charlton Heston still, I believe.
Okay, then that's 2 then, yeah. Because he's not in the third one or the fourth
Right.
one. Any pop culture stuff we can talk about? Because I've got a lot of stuff to talk about for the news segment.
I mean,
but
here's the real issue. I've been working a lot of back-to-backs. So today's been like my first day off. So I really haven't had a chance to like catch up with things. I want to see Beetlejuice, but I haven't seen it yet, so I could speculate what the movie's going to be about. I don't know how fun that'll be.
yeah, that's already been out, so a lot of people will have already seen it.
Yes, The Underdwellers, confirmed. Return of the Planet of the Apes is The Underdwellers.
Gotcha. The Thunderbolts movie that's been announced, whatever the thing it is. The Thunderbolts. Is it a movie or a TV show? It's a movie. I guess the Sentry's going to be in there. That's pretty cool. I like seeing the Sentry and stuff.
I don't know. I got really disappointed when I saw Harrison Ford was going to be in it.
Well, he's replacing what's his face?
Yeah.
He's replacing that other old dude.
The other
who
guy
played,
with the strong chin.
Yeah, the Red Hulk guy. Although he never played Red Hulk yet.
Correct.
But I don't know. I think Thunderbolt Ross. I don't remember what the actor's name is.
Yeah, no, it's just more that like I don't think Harrison Ford cares enough about making movies these days for him to like put a good effort in.
Well, that's true. I mean, if there's one thing that Thunderbolt Ross is supposed to do, it's supposed to get very, very angry at things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
we'll
he
see if
might
that
do good
happens.
at that. They just have to like always keep planes on hand and let him crash them and then film right after he gets out of it.
Actually, that's pretty on point for the character. But yeah, I don't know. I still haven't actually seen the Wolverine movie either. I was going to, and then stuff happened in life.
At this point, I'm just going to wait until it comes out to rent or on Disney Plus and just do it that way. I don't know. I'm getting to a point now where like, I like the theater. I do. But also it's just that like that extra hour of like getting to the theater and coming back from it and all that. That's precious time I could be doing for
fucking
like with other
$30.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had friends, I would probably go to.
I will say I've entered that stage of life where I feel very comfortable going to like even nice restaurants or theaters and stuff just alone. I'm okay with it. In fact, it's really nice because like you'll go to a really nice place and they usually have a bar, and you don't have to wait for a reservation or anything. You just go to the bar and place your order there, and usually strike up a conversation with someone.
Yeah, that's not. I don't know. That's the problem with also with Sweden is that like there are two kinds of restaurants. There's like cafes, and then there are like, restaurants with maitre d's and wine lists and shit. There's no like just go out.
The casual
have a
American
meal.
bar hasn't hit Sweden yet.
No, it's just it's like I could go to like a kebab stand, or I could go to like a Michelin star rated like hoity-toity thing that I can't even afford to look at the phone number for booking a reservation at. Like those are the two options.
Just seems weird with like I don't know. You'd think there'd be like that German influence of like beer hall or something where they, or like the Vikings. The Vikings had big drinking halls. Like you
That
would
was like
think they would,
1,000 years ago.
yeah, but what happened in 1,000 years that made you all decide not to not want to talk to each other?
At least here, a lot of it is just no. Everyone talks to each other through sports. Is the thing. That's everyone's addicted to exercise now.
Okay,
Like
I
it's
was
just
just
you,
exercise in general because I was gonna say, is there like a
yeah.
specific national sport? Is it hockey? Is
No,
it
I mean
soccer?
not really. It's just exercise. Like you go on Tinder and everyone's like, I like to work out, but I also like to go to the gym and sometimes I exercise. And you're just like, no
No.
one. Do you have a personality at all?
Who needs a personality when you're that fit?
I mean, that's kind of the entire ethos of at least the part of Sweden I live in.
Ugh,
Ugh.
that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's like California, except no one talks to each other and it's snowy and cold.
Mm-hmm. So New York in the winter.
No, because New Yorkers have vices,
And they're
you know?
dumpy. Yeah. I was
New
gonna
Yorkers
say.
New Yorkers smoke and they drink too much, or they like But
It's to get through
there's
that
no
cold
vice
winter.
here.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. There's no vice here except for like I don't know, out in the boonies you'll get like old drunks and stuff, but I don't know.
Just
No one has any
drinking
personality.
schnapps and ice wine.
It's mostly just shitty beer,
Ugh.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Now it really does sound like they need a nice microbrewery there.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. A lot of very, very small profit margin. Lots of taxes on alcohol, unfortunately.
Mm.
So you basically have to like have a lot of money that you're okay with losing.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, a lot of the successful ones just can't handle even a little blip.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I would have assumed that like the government would like subsidize some of it to like help new businesses like that start up, but yeah, I guess they also are very keen on taxing them too.
Well, it's alcohol. I mean, there are a lot of stuff to start and help new businesses, although that doesn't really help really because, like there's very little room for like middle ground businesses, like mom and pop stuff. You can it's pretty easy to do, and then like nationwide corporations that they also, it's like the middle ground is really hard to kind of find your way in because like if you're more than a small thing, then you have to deal with like negotiating with unions, and a lot more labor regulation goes into that. But then you don't get any of the tax breaks that like the big bargaining agreements you get and stuff with like a bigger corporation.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of lack of middle ground in Sweden.
I don't know if I want to go there anymore.
I mean, there's more of a middle class than there is in Sweden in America for that.
Well,
reason,
that's fair. Yeah. No, I don't know. Every time I learn a little bit more about it, I realize I know nothing about the world outside of America, really.
yeah, it's a little different except for it's exactly the same. So
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because there's humans there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're all creatures of habit. Yeah, we're slowly entering that like dark period here as well. It's
Hunting season.
subtle. Yeah. Oh yeah. The turkey are out in like full force right now. They're gonna vanish here in like 2 weeks, and then we won't see any of them for like 3 months. But yeah, I can notice like the chill in the air is starting. We're still getting like 70-degree, like mid 70-degree days sometimes, which is uncommon for this point in the year. I mean, we got a full-on blizzard like just 3 weeks out from now last year. So
Yeah.
we're kind of preparing for the deep dark to hit quick. But I don't know, just something different about it here. Like if you can get a heavy snowfall, it kind of makes it all worthwhile. Where the
Yeah.
last couple years, outside of that one freak blizzard, it's just been gray and cold.
That's the worst. I mean, that's why I like here in Sweden. I like January and February best because then you actually have snow for like, even though it's darker, you have like light coming off the snow and stuff. And
Sure.
Like, December, November, March, it's just dark without the snow.
Ugh.
We'll usually get usually what happens, we'll get like a bunch of snow for no reason at the end of October, and then it'll all melt and it'll be slushy until like midway through January, and then it'll be like proper white, winter for like a month and a half
Mm-hmm.
or two, and then it kind of goes back to alternating between actual snowy and slush. Although last year, it was snowy. Like I think we got our last snow in May. Like it was really long winter last year. I mean, we're talking about the weather, which means we obviously have nothing to talk about. So why don't we talk about the game we played? Not really a segue so much as a
just a
admission of
warning
defeat.
sign that yeah. Once we're on weather, I think that's the official. Ooh, that's today's warm up.
Yeah,
I apologize.
So, or I guess I should say, we also welcome to the Safe State. This is a podcast where we talk
Welcome.
about video games. It's been a minute since we did one of these. I'm
Yeah.
Arvid,
I'm Mike.
and we are talking about Prince of Persia:
We
colon,
are.
The Lost Crown, a name that I had to write down several times because I could not remember the name of it.
Yeah. Prince of Persia: MacGuffin.
Yeah, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. That's actually a real one. Never mind.
That is.
The Prince of Persia: The Fate
Mhm.
of the Future. I don't know. Like it's very.
Prince of Persia: Live, Stop, Repeat. No, Live, Die, Repeat. That was it. There we go.
Edge of Tomorrow. Now, this game, I have to say, took a long time for the story to be anything that I was even kind of interested in. It was just like very bland, like adventure story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only starting with that because like that kind of carries on the blandness of the title, even though like this game is really good. Like in my opinion, I like this a lot.
I was gonna say it sounds like you're trying to do like a reverse compliment sandwich with like, but make it more like a KFC double down stack.
Well, it's kind of more like I'm thinking about how, like, why I hadn't heard of this game until you mentioned it, and why like more people aren't talking about it. And I think it's because this presents in like the most boring. Oh yeah, we have this IP. Might as well do something with it. Let's crap out a quick Metroidvania.
ABC Saturday morning kids cartoon show where they can keep the budget shoestring, and it's like it just fills a 30-minute block. Like that's what it comes off as at its surface.
Absolutely, Saturday morning cartoon vibes all the way. But this is actually a really good game. So I don't know. I think this is another instance of like the marketing department screwing over an actual good game.
Yeah, let's actually talk about like it might be one of the better Metroidvanias I've ever played.
Yeah, I mean top 10 certainly top like of like the post Hollow Knight era. It's certainly in like the top 5 maybe.
Yeah, you start to feel that really good like movement flow as you get your movement upgrades, and you start to get the ability to your sash is this like grappling hook whip thing that you can use to like get yourself to another points and fling yourself further in places. I don't know, it's got a really slick feel to it for the movement that like a Hollow Knight is probably the last time I would have felt that, where like more of like a Metroid or a Castlevania, I don't know, at least especially on the Castlevania side, you're more like working on your double jump and kind of placement during attacks in midair. This one like really lets you like do a lot of sliding, a lot of midair acrobatics that feels more like a Prince of Persia game in general. I don't know, it's just really enjoyable. I gotta be honest, I've never played a Prince of Persia game. This is the first one I've ever played.
I mean, I played the original way back in the day on my dad's Amiga. I remember almost nothing of it other than playing it and being like, actually, I want to play Aladdin on my Sega Genesis.
I have played Aladdin. I've played a couple different versions of Aladdin.
Yeah, and then I played the first one of the reboots, like the early 2000s or whenever that was. I guess that was the PlayStation 2. And it left almost zero memory in my brain. Like I just know that I played it, and I don't remember anything else about it.
So were they just more like platformers in general? And this is like, is this the first Metroidvania? Like, I know that that's not the right term, but
yeah, like the originals were more like side scrollers, and they were kind of like the thing that was like really set them apart was like how like they rotoscoped all of the animations, and it was just like this really smooth looking like not actually that fluid platformer, especially by modern standards, but it looked really cool, very cinematic. And but then the other ones, like with the reboots and the ones like in the 2000s that most people probably played, are much more like they're 3D kind of. They're like Tomb Raider-y in that they kind of mix like action and puzzles and platforming. I think that would be the genre I would point to. Obviously, without guns, probably. There might have been one with guns in there. So this would be, I guess, kind of almost a return to form for Prince of Persia, I guess. But again, I haven't played a ton of them. But by no means, I don't know any of the lore. Like, even this game's lore is... Like, the character designs are good. The actual story and writing and like, the names, honestly, I couldn't remember any of them. It was just like, who are you? Why are you talking to me? Can we just get going? I want to go jump on things. The thing that this game gets very right, like you said, is this kind of fluidity of movement, and also like it has this like the combat is very unforgiving, and that you even late in the game you can only take almost like a couple hits from a lot of enemies. Like it's not you have to like really get into the rhythm of dodging and parrying and attacking. But on the other hand, enemies also generally go down pretty quickly, so it never feels like you're kind of grinding combat out or you're just kind of doing the same thing. Like most enemy types have a weakness or like a set pattern that you need to like recognize and exploit, as opposed to just being it's more Metroid than it is Vania, where like a Castlevania thing, you have like a bunch of different weapons and you have like you can just kind of wail on enemies. Aside from bosses, this game is pretty slick as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, the bosses, I mean, it's the same idea. They just have their own attack patterns and phases, and it's just about reading that and doing a rinse repeat on it. I mean, the nice thing about it is you do get these kind of ultimate moves that you can use, and you can customize which ones you're using, and they have their own cooldown and cost to them. So that was always fun to play around with, because I found sometimes, the ones that I wanted for every day, like just side-scroll platform use, were not the ones that I wanted for a particular boss, and I did like that. Yeah, the story, meh. The boss fights, pretty predictable, and I think only one or two were, like, interesting, but I wouldn't say any of them rose to, like, memorable for me.
Yeah, like comparing, we talked about Hollow Knight, and I know that's unfair necessarily to always compare things to Hollow Knight when we're talking about Metroidvanias, but, like, the boss fights in this were pretty rote, as opposed to like Hollow Knight, and even Bloodstained did a very good job of making boss fights feel like distinctive encounters, where this game kind of made a lot of the boss fights maybe feel like what you'd expect out of a Metroidvania game. Like there was no hidden mechanic or twist on most of the fights, or there wasn't anything that you picking up of this game for the first time in the like right before a boss fight. I don't think would be any more difficult than picking it up right before the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. So the names of the abilities you gain throughout the game, your like your movement powers in general. Not all of them are movement, but there are ways to like access new areas. They lead to interesting combinations with them. They're all like very like the Hobbit trilogy movie title names, like very easily forgettable. Like I had to pull them up. One of them's like Shadow of the Submerge, and I'm like, okay, what does that one do? And it's, you can just like make a copy of you that sits in the position you like were at, and then you can like bounce between the two, which is cool. It opens up a lot of options for you, but like the naming of everything, it just goes back to the story of it. Like I didn't feel like I was living in the world. It just was a really, really fun Metroidvania platformer to interact with. I think one of my favorite powers was the Dimensional Claw, where you can like Pokemon capture an enemy into it and then throw them back out like at another thing. That just, once I realized like, I can even take like the bigger, harder enemies that like give me some trouble and just like capture them and then sick them on something else. That kind of changed the whole gameplay for me.
Yeah, this game does that a lot when you have new abilities, and it's not just like where like, you can now unlock this area or you can now take down this enemy. It's a lot of like, well, now I know how to take down enemies faster or in different ways, or I can experiment. The game feels very open and experimental, despite the fact that it looks kind of like there was no interest to do anything different with this at all. Like very safe, like think of the toy line marketing kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even the style of art that they went for feels like it was, let's 3D scan in like a Prince of Persia toy so that we can sell like, that later. Yeah.
And they're all like all the characters are like differentiatable, and they all have different weapons, but not in like it kind of plays in sometimes with some of the story bits, but mostly it just kind of feels like, these will be cool action figures. Not that that's even a thing people do anymore that much, but it's just kind of
maybe that's just from our brain of it. Maybe more the Saturday morning cartoon was the right way of like, if we make them look like they're from like Star Wars Clone Wars show, like in this kind of more hyper stylized, form, maybe spin-off animated series, who knows what they were thinking on that end. It really feels like none of the departments talk to each other.
Yeah, well, it feels very much like, okay, like the art department was told, play it safe, and then the same thing with the writing department, and then maybe no one told the game designers that they had to do that,
Yeah. They just all were super fans of action platformers and kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is like definitely something that I'd be like. Also, interesting. Another not I guess a complaint, but like this game has a ton of accessibility options and a ton of different ways to make the game less punishing for you, which is very nice, and I appreciated that. However, it did not allow for remapping of the controller at all.
Yeah,
and that was singularly annoying because it maps the parry button to the left trigger, which on an Xbox Pro controller, which is what I normally use, sucks because it has so much it's got resistance, like it's sprung.
Yeah, because it's meant for like preparing a shot, like for a shooter. Game. Yeah.
A shooter or like a racing game, like it's meant to give resistance as opposed to a quick twitch movement. So I had to go through the whole rigmarole of getting my Switch controller working, which is usually not a problem with Steam. I can usually switch between Xbox and my Switch controller pretty easily. However, because this is Steam and Ubisoft Connect, I had to deal with that whole cluster. Which I don't. Ubisoft just needs to stop shooting themselves in the foot. Like this game should have been a knock out of the park, but like you have to use Ubisoft Connect, and they decided to market it and make it look like a boring cash grab. Like
every time I go onto Steam and I look at a game that I'm like, this could be really interesting, it's an Ubisoft game, I have to go through the reviews because it always is like mixed or like mostly positive, like, or just something middling, and I go in and so often they're getting review bombed just because of like the forced sign-in launcher experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw this with Helldivers with Sony. The whole idea of going onto these digital distribution platforms was to create a more frictionless experience, and they're fucking it up every single time they try to like force us to interact with their data grab system that they're trying to cash in on.
Especially because this isn't a multiplayer game. There's no need for us to be on your there's a DLC which came out right before we started recording, like the day before or something like that. So I didn't play it. But other than that, like there's no online functionality. There's no reason to be in the Ubisoft ecosystem when you're playing this game. It's a fun single person action platformer. Yeah. Like can't that just be that?
I don't care about my Ubi bucks.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. Saw that with something recently. I think it was Star Wars Outlaws. They were like, we're going to also give you like an extra 1,000 Ubi points if you like pre-order it. And I'm like, I don't care about those. I don't know what I can do with those. I guess I can have an avatar on something I never use. Neat.
Well, actually, one thing that Ubisoft Connect, whatever the heck it's called right now, you can use those points on discounts on games. So like like when I bought Anno, because Anno only released on Ubisoft for a while there, which is very annoying, the most recent Anno. And so, I bought all the DLC because I have spent several hundred hours playing Anno 1800. It's a very, very good game. I love it to death. But I had enough Ubi points from buying that and all the DLC over the course of 3 or 4 years that I was able to get most, if not all, of the Assassin's Creed games before like the modern trilogy or whatever. Like, not that that's necessarily great, but I mean it was free money or free games, I guess. So I guess you could, but I mean again at the same time, now I have if I want to play those things, I have to go through Ubisoft Connect again, and part of me wants to just buy it again so I don't have to deal with it. Although you will have to deal with it because you always have to deal with it if it's an Ubisoft thing. I mean, even EA gave up on this stuff, and you can't out evil EA. I mean, you can try.
Yeah, you can try. You're not going to succeed on that. I don't know. Maybe one day. I mean, the Embracer group's gone, but someone might rise to the occasion.
I still think Nintendo should buy them, like we said. Although that will definitely, Nintendo hates closed ecosystems, don't they?
At this point, I'm ready for everyone to be broken up. Like, let's
Yeah.
Let's bring everything back to small independent studios.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, no shit. But no, another power I really enjoyed off this, again, clairvoyance. It's the ability to like do the Ori and the Blind Forest move where you can like recreate like this ethereal wall that you can pass through is now solid. And depending on like maybe one isn't solid, the other one is, and then you hit the button and they flip to where the one that was solid is now intangible. And it's a really fun, it's just another one of those like challenge platformer experiences within it that I really enjoyed. I liked that in Ori, and I enjoyed it in this too.
Yeah, and like I mentioned with the accessibility options, this would also be a game that, despite it being a little punishing, I think would be like maybe that's why they use the Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic. But this would be a pretty good game for a young person. Mm-hmm. Like it's not complex. There aren't a ton of different buttons you have to learn and interactions, but it teaches you a lot of like the basic Metroidvania ideas and stuff.
Yeah, I would recommend like for someone trying to enter this space, this genre of game, I'd probably recommend this over even like something more current like Metroid Dread.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing is because Hollow Knight and Metroid Dread and Bloodstained they're all not trying like they all come from Metroidvania stock, but they're trying to iterate on that. They're trying to make it their own and do something different with it. Like Metroid Dread has that like whole like monster hunt element, or not be hunted by alien element, and then you've got Hollow Knight's just kind of weirdness, and Bloodstained's pretty much just Castlevania. I shouldn't say that, but
specifically like a couple like specific Castlevanias that are like soul collecting based, but yeah,
I mean it should be called like Basilbania. But this game is much more interested in just kind of being a good Metroidvania.
Yeah, play it. It's good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe play it on Switch so you don't have to deal with Uplay or.
That is what I would do next time. I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be enjoyable on Switch, docked or not. It seems like it's almost like it was like meant or seen first as a Switch game, and then
that actually makes a lot of sense because a lot of the UI elements seem really big on a normal screen and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That would make sense if they were thinking about Switch. Also, the family friendly vibes. Not that Switch has made that much inroads in trying to maintain a family friendly image.
No, I can play like a Blasphemous on Switch. So they're not really trying to like, even for their action platformers, they're not trying to like tone it down.
No, despite the fun colors they come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Prince of Persia, Text Notes, The Lost Crown.
Ah, okay.
The Prince of Time, The Thief of Baghdad.
Prince of Persia,
of Time.
Time Bandits. I would watch / play that one so hard.
Yeah.
It would have to be like an interactive, kind of like a Bandersnatch.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Just quick time events. That's what it would be. Closer to like an Indigo Prophecy, but a movie.
Dragon's Lair.
It's probably coming back. We're gonna see something like that.
It is. Sure, it's been it gets re-released like every 5 years right now. So I'm sure.
I mean, like their Bloodstained is gonna be coming soon. I'm sure someone's in the works trying to make something happen.
Why would you want to?
I don't know. It's fun.
I guess.
I mean, I'd still want it like exclusively as a cabinet at a bar, but
yeah, where you have to spend $1.50 per run or whatever. Ugh. All right, we'll take a quick break and then we'll talk about some news.
Perfect. And I'm back.
And he's back.
And we're back.
All right. So now it's time for the news. News corner.
News corner. You'll get caught up in the news corner. Is that?
I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll clip that and keep using that bit. So I've got a few things. First thing I'll probably do, again, this is going to be a very complaining news segment, so I apologize.
It's fine. You're in a mood. You're allowed.
Yeah. The Sims 5 has not been canceled, but like officially, not that they ever announced The Sims 5, but the Project Renee, which is the new Sims project being made by what the is left of Maxis, is going to be a free-to-play something. Just a lot of corporate jargony gibberish.
So they're turning Sims 5 live service.
Yeah, basically, it's a live service,
Fucking idiots,
entertainment experience, and no one is interested in happy about this.
Nope. There's going to be a beach day pack or pass you can buy. There's going to be swimming pools in its own thing. Like it'll hold a whole like backyard like objects pack.
Did I mention it's also going to be entirely multiplayer? So you have to do all this while also dealing with...
Oh, fuck that. No, I don't want other people in my fucking Sims town.
No.
Get out of this.
No one does. That's the whole
shit.
point of it.
I play The Sims to interact with fake people, not real people.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want... I mean, when I want to go home and play with my dolls, I don't want randos from the grocery store looking at me.
I don't want someone randomly trying to like come over and be like, woohoo? You want a woohoo? And it's like, no, go away.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, it's going to be full of kids, so they're going to take away all the fun in the sleeves. There's not going to be any heart-shaped beds or weird, murderous plants or anything like that. It's going to be all just like...
now, hear me out. What if they do keep all that? What if it's multiplayer?
Well, they did that already, called The Sims Online,
that's true.
and like people were like going to jail for harassment and stalking people.
Yeah, that's no good. God, people suck.
That was a mess. So yeah, I R.I.P. The Sims basically.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Sims 10 or Sims 10. Good lord, The Sims 4, which has turned 10 recently, which is why that came to mind. Has been anything other than the zombified, like remnants of The Sims just trundling along, but does kind of whittle down my future Simsing. I mean, because we've lost Life by You, which got canceled, and the Sims thing is definitely going to be shite. So we've got Inzoi right now and Paralives, and
Inzoi really just looks like a demo for Unreal 5, and they haven't shown much else outside of like, look how pretty we can make it look.
Yeah. And Paralives just looks like, what if we turned The Sims into like a antihistamine commercial? Like, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I just want there to be a good Sims game. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah,
like,
apparently.
Why is this a hard thing to make? Why is this not an entire genre? I could go on. There's like a new city builder released every week now on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have that with Life Sims?
I know, which really sucks for me because my brain doesn't work that way. And every time I see one, I'm like, I think this looks so cool. And then I try to play it and I'm like, I am too dumb for this.
Yeah, that's how I feel about... that's kind of how I feel about Metroidvanias, where I'm like, oh man, I love this. I'm like, oh wait, I suck at these games, but I still love them, even though I am terrible at them.
Yeah. I mean, I know my weaknesses. I'm still going to, play Frostpunk 2.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to be trash at it.
Yeah, I will too at some point, but I've...
Free on Game Pass right now.
Talk about more of that.
I know. I'm just saying I'm going to get to play it without having to pay any extra money.
But I don't know. It's not that. It's the I don't know. Giving Microsoft more power just bugs me. And also, I had that... I still haven't forgiven them for giving me the runaround with that fucking credit card shit. So, anyway, other news. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unity, has announced Unity 6, and they've showed it off, and it looks very pretty. And basically have said that they have disavowed themselves of the last 2 years of bad PR they've been doing for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, firing people and like, no. We're very different now. Everything's good, and we're not that anymore.
We're not going to, like, charge you based on, like,
we're
your
not
success.
We're not going to just screw you over without you having any... Anyway, no one believes them. And also, everyone's moved on. And
didn't I hear, too, like, aren't they trying to, like, join the AI bandwagon a little bit with this one, too?
Probably. I'm sure everything is. You can't sell anything right now without having AI in it. You're not going to get any like investor money without saying AI. I mean, you could be starting to start a chain of hot dog stands, and if you don't say that something's like AI generated, then they're not going to want to give you any money.
I will always stand by the idea that I think AI is a useful tool to speed up the process when getting like a skeletal framework built out. But if you are trying to be like, well, they'll build the assets complete, like I don't want that. Like I still want a human with like a
I
soul.
mean, more importantly, at the end of the day, generative AI can only iterate on things that it's already seen.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's just only going to give you. It's a search engine. It's not
Yes.
actual. It's someone smashed a search engine and a chat bot together and tried to tell us it was a person, and it ain't.
Right.
So yeah, that's Unreal. Not Unreal, Epic. No, what the fuck's the name of the engine?
Unity.
Unity. Yeah, it's already gotten out of my brain.
Unreal is Epic, and Unity.
Yeah, I think basically, if you want a big, pretty thing, you're going to go with Unreal, and if you're going to be an indie game dev, you're going to go with Godot.
I was going to say Godot. Yeah, I thought you were going to say
Yeah,
Unity. I was like, no, Godot.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to go with Unity anymore. I think they've crapped themselves in a really spectacular manner.
Godot just had a really successful Humble Bundle package all put out. I picked it up too, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but like, I have it now. Looks really,
I mean, I've been
really sleek.
monkeying around with Godot, and it's like, I used to mod Bethesda games, and I used to follow a lot of people, and was very, not active, but involved with modding with Bethesda games.
Mm-hmm.
Up until about midway through Skyrim, less so after that. But the reason why I think the mod scene was so big with those games was because the development kit that Bethesda released with them was extremely easy to use, and you could do anything you really wanted to within the game with these engines. You know, like importing assets, and it was an incredibly easy way to learn how to develop games. And with now monkeying around with Godot, I kind of see like a lot of modding scenes disappearing because it's easier to make stuff in Godot than it is to make stuff in like a game dev toolkit thing, like you get with like the creation kit and all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to have a game as the like groundwork. You can just make a game.
Not only that, but just like the UI and all that stuff that's like the stuff that's daunting to someone who's just getting started, Godot makes so easy and simple and stuff that, I mean, that's one of the reasons you start with a pre-made game, so you don't have to like worry about like physics coding and stuff. That's already built in there,
handled for you. Yep.
But Godot makes it so easy to do all that. I'm very excited because I think it's kind of like, I think it feels kind of like Flash back in the day, where it's like this is going to be not just a thing for people to make games. This is going to be a thing for people to make animations and movies and videos, and this is going to be a really useful piece of software. And I'm happy to see it. Godot's a good thing.
I guess I'd just assumed that like the modding community was starting to vanish slowly because we were all aging out and like becoming adults with kids and like careers and not enough free time anymore, and that the younger generations were more focused on making like skibbity videos. But
well, yeah, but they also, I mean, the younger generation's also like, what are Roblox games but mods? You know, like what
God. It's fucking wild. One of my high school workers was telling me that their younger brothers and all their friends just come over to play a Roblox game that is just clicking on a button and seeing, like, you pay some currency that you've like earned within it, I think, and then you click on the button once you pay the fee, and it generates a massive number that will either give you a like generic background behind the button or a really cool background behind the button. That's it. And they'll have that and like two other screens going on at the same time. No, it was like they're trying to get the one where it's like the Milky Way is the background, and I'm like, that they could just look at that. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. We did so much stupid shit back in the day. Like, how many tedious stick figure action Flash games did we play on?
Yeah, but at least like I'm hitting more than one button, and I have to like pay attention to things.
Yeah.
Usually I'm jumping and like doing a little kick slide and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the only one where I only hit one button was like that Celebrity Slugfest or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was a fun one. I don't know. These kids these days. I guess
Yeah.
while we're on the subject of modding and lightly touched on Skyrim, you heard Skyrim Grandma's retired.
Yeah.
She's done.
What's her name? Curry. Shirley Curry.
Yep.
Skyrim Grandma's.
Shirley
Yeah.
Marie Curry.
I did not know her middle name.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
a,
Skyrim.
never mind. It was a
Is it really not? It's not really her middle name.
no. Forget
Okay.
it. Didn't land.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry. Yeah. Also, PALWORLD might actually be getting sued by Nintendo now.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard this one actually. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
so,
that had been like Nintendo was like, we're looking into our options.
Yeah. So there hasn't been any because this is inter-Japan company stuff, so it's very secretive even within Japan.
Is Digimon like shitting bricks then? Like,
No, but well, from what I understand, it's specifically the way you catch them in balls. That is
throwing a ball and hitting it with
throwing
the
a
ball.
ball and exactly is the linchpin of
bullshit.
this lawsuit.
I call
But, I
bullshit
mean,
on that.
I would agree, but I think the fact that Nintendo or whoever it is, Game Freak, has been biding their time this long before they jumped on it, it makes me think they probably have built themselves a pretty good case. I don't know that you wait this long.
I can see their argument for like if someone was kept in a vacuum and knew nothing about Pokemon except for like the brief image of someone throwing a ball at a monster and it being captured in a stream of light, then yes, I could see the argument of that, like someone could see that image from PALWORLD and assume they're seeing a Pokemon game, and now they're seeing guns and other things happening, and they're thinking, oh, well, Pokemon's not appropriate for my child, and so now it's damaging to their IP. I can see the case in that sense. I just don't know if that person exists, though. Like,
someone who doesn't know what Pokemon is, but
someone who doesn't
seen
right.
PALWORLD.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it also it's like it's Japan, like corporate law and stuff like that. So like it's so
Sure.
different, and so like it could like in America you think about things like that where it's like, is this damaging to my ability to sell a product? But that might not be what they think about when they're doing that sort of stuff over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Plus,
I don't know.
Whatever the Yakuza have to say about that.
Yeah,
They're
I don't know
deep
if they
into
can
Pokemon.
roll themselves out of the retirement homes to go stab someone, I guess. Speaking of Yakuza, did you see the trailer for the new Yakuza game?
I haven't. Like I said,
okay.
I've been living in a rock.
Well, we're
Not
just
under,
we're
in
just
it.
gonna have to take a bit of a second for you to watch that because I don't want to ruin anything for you. We can watch it at the same time.
Okay,
maybe.
here we go. Wait, I think I found it 4 days ago. Okay. 7 minutes?
So, what'd you
God
think?
Damn. Oh, wow. Okay, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, February 28th, 2025. I will be playing the shit out of that. Goro Majima as a, like, amnesia pirate. Yes.
Like not like an actual pirate with a sailing ship and a cutlass and cannons. This is
But at the same time, also doing, like, bike delivery runs for food apps. Like, it seems so wild and unhinged. I was curious what the combat was going to be like, and it looks like from the little bit of, like, deck, melee skirmish, like, ship-on-ship deck fighting that you're going to be doing. It almost looks like Masao, where, like, there's going to be hordes of enemies, like, much bigger than, like, the combat we're used to. And your moves are going to be these bigger sweeping attack moves and specials and combos. I'm curious to see how much of that's going to be, if that's actually how it's going to play.
Yeah, I'm gonna think it's gonna be a lot closer to like previous Yakuza games as far as the combat is, especially because this is gonna be out in February, and they just like we had this is what this will be the third full length Yakuza game in 18 months or whatever. Like I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think that just shows the power of the Dragon Engine, like how confident they feel about it, that they can keep pumping out games in it. Like, holy shit.
It's yeah, and like they're just gonna like, oh, you guys made a pirate game? That's cute. Like we could make a pirate game.
Oh, it took you like 12 years to
Took
make
you-
a pirate game?
Yeah, exactly. We did it in 8 months.
Oh man, I mean, I guess technically all they really had to do was like make the ships and stuff. They already had all the assets from making Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff you see in this is familiar if you played Infinite Wealth or the man who sold his name or whatever the fuck. But also, we gotta finally get a full length game that's Majima.
I know.
We
I'm
played
so
Majima.
excited.
I mean, technically speaking, you played him a lot in Zero, but like he was only half the cast. So,
Right.
and also this is not like a Dragon Gaiden. Yeah. So presumably it's like a full length big boy game, not like one of the shorter ones. Although to be fair, like a Dragon Gaiden: the man who erased his name was not a short game either. That's like a good 40-hour game. That's just short for a Yakuza game. So yeah, we've got some catching up to do before February.
Yeah. Now, I will say what they're saying is that it's going to be the story will be roughly 1.5 times longer than The Man Who Erased His Name, but they're putting that at somewhere around 15 to 18 hours.
I definitely took a more time doing it, but I also maybe
Well,
spent
they're
more
talking
time
about
doing
just
side
story.
stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be a nice, good, healthy game.
Yeah,
Oh, that's exciting. So exciting.
very excited to see this.
I was just getting ready to get back into Infinite Wealth since I know I'm going to have to it's going to take so long to do it. Like it needs to just be something I'm constantly working on in the background so we can talk about it before the end of the year.
We still got Ishin to play and the Judgment games if we want to. I mean, no, we don't need to play those. But those
I feel
are
like
also
those could be after the New Year thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we could cram some of it into Yakuzamas.
Maybe. I feel like we could almost just break Infinite Wealth down into like 4 chapters.
Well, I don't know.
Like
about
4
that.
parts
I mean,
and just like play it over December, but I don't know how interesting that would be for everyone.
yeah, definitely. It amazes me. Like again, like not only is it that they just announced it, I think like you said 4 days ago, but the release date is in February. Like that's, I mean, I hope that this productivity is due to just a well trained team, expert in their craft, confident in their abilities, all working together at the same time, and not a bunch of whip cracking on Sega's part. That's what I hope. But I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, my God.
And also, like, no pretense of trying to be down to earth with this one. Like a lot of the ones, they'll have crazy stuff, but it's stuff that like they don't put that in the trailer, and it won't necessarily. It'll be a minor plot point, really. But this thing is just like, no, we're just gonna do all the crazy things that we normally do in the Yakuza, but like just make it.
But also, you're
plot.
going to go to Madlantis, which looks like it is
love that.
It's like the pirate ship stacked city from Pirates of the Caribbean, but with like a casino hotel on top and lights everywhere. Like it looks insane.
It's like the offshore gambling pier in The Man Who Erased His Name, but like it's also Atlantis. Yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Oh wow, this is gonna be great.
Hopefully.
I've always liked Majima as a character.
No, and also like again, that's the other thing is like because they've been using the same engine for so long and they can reuse stuff. Not only does it mean they get stuff up fast, but it also means like they know how to make this stuff run on PC. They know how to make this stuff run on hardware. They've done it before. There's going to be any new surprises. Like I don't think you have to worry about it being a buggy mess. Like that's like Like a Dragon Studios have been doing this for a minute. It's almost kind of to feel like a TV or a movie series where you just wait for the new thing every year, except for they can pump them out faster than most TV series can these days.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm hoping we're going to start seeing is like a flagship game every couple years, and then 2 to 3 smaller games that kind of set up the big arc story for the next one.
Yeah.
Kind of tell you what the side characters are going to be doing, maybe kill off some of them so that cast of characters doesn't get so big, or at least put them into their own stories like a Judgment where like, okay, this person's had their full arc within the main series. We're going to let them go do their own thing and try to keep that like party size, that like main character cast size down to like a manageable, 4, 5, 6 people.
I feel like they do a pretty good job of that. They don't necessarily kill them off, but they'll just kind of drop characters and they don't feel like talking about them anymore.
Sure.
That's definitely... I mean, I would like maybe sometimes that they got more, I don't know, closure. Like maybe they don't have to be like they die, but maybe they have good lives or whatever. But it just kind of feels like, especially some certain specific characters, like what's her face from Yakuza 2, where like she seemed like she was probably going to be a more important character.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just kind of gets like, "Dear Mario, I've moved to the United States."
Yeah, I mean, which is fine. Hey, that's not to say that those characters never kind of resurface. Even characters that you think died. Like,
oh yeah, I mean that's actually one of the that's actually one of the most telltale signs that a character will come back, is if you actually see them die.
I don't even remember what Yakuza game it is now, but I just remember that whole big climax ending where someone gets shot, and then they're like, "Oh shit, that person's that person's the traitor." And then another person gets shot, and they're like, "Wait, no, that person wasn't the traitor. It's this person." Just gets like obscenely absurd.
And the bomb's fake. Actually, it's real. No, it's fake. No, it's real. Yeah, no, that's the ending to Yakuza 2 is
Yakuza 2 rug pull.
Like I feel like if I had to like show someone like what makes Yakuza great storytelling wise, I'd make them watch that. But at the same time, it would totally ruin so much of the game.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God. Oh, I can't wait for Yakuza this year. It's the series that keeps on giving.
It really does, man. I love every single one of them. All right. That's enough gushing about Yakuza.
For now.
We should. For now.
Yeah.
I mean, there will always be more gushing about Yakuza, just like there will always be more complaining about Star Wars. That's what we do.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a reason to talk Star Wars here soon. We'll see.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. What have you been playing, Mike?
I finished up the Castlevania Dominus collection, and I actually have been going back and playing the Advanced collection. Been on a real Castlevania kick lately. I might even go further back and play like the SNES, NES games after this. Just
good soundtracks.
Great. Honestly, like the Advanced one, I'm enjoying the soundtrack more than the DS one. Like something about that early MIDI sound, like just was. It's so crunchy, but like it's got a beat to it.
What have you been playing besides Game Boy Advance Castlevania retro thing?
Not too much, actually. I just finished the installation like while we were recording for Frostpunk 2, so I'll be playing that at some point. I actually picked up Humankind again back onto my like installed library on Steam, so I think with all the diplomacy I've been playing with friends, it's just got me in the mood to
look at a map.
Yeah, look at a map and play that, just not Civ.
Yeah. Fair. I'm in a similar boat in that I've been playing a lot of Stellaris. The most recent patch came out, and I've been kind of putting off a lot of the expansions that I haven't played because I didn't really dive into it. And so I've got a few expansions with the content to play, and it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. But the thing I've probably been spending more time on is Satisfactory.
Didn't it like officially release?
Yeah, it's finally out of early access. Got its 1.0 release, and I've been bashing my head on that.
I genuinely thought that was going to be a forever early access game.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact it was made by a studio that I have played several other games from, Coffee Stain Studios, I probably would agree with you. The makers of Goat Simulator.
They were also tied up into Embracer, weren't they?
I think they're one of the few Swedish indie groups. No, they did. They definitely did.
I thought when we talked about like the dissolution, they were caught up in that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one of the ones that weren't, I think, was Thunderful, the developers of the other game I've been playing this week, because despite the fact I've had very little free time, I've been bouncing around a lot. And I've been playing SteamWorld Build, the latest in the SteamWorld games, which is not so much a genre as is a setting. And I've loved every single SteamWorld game they've done. SteamWorld Heist, SteamWorld Dig, that Slay the Spire type of thing they did. But this is like their city builder, and it's not an amazingly in-depth city builder. But the thing that it does is it's basically like Dungeon Keeper glued on to like a city builder. It's kind of a basic city builder and a basic Dungeon Keeper, but like combined together, they kind of make for a pretty interesting game where you have to like keep your city built in order to provide stuff for your Dungeon Keeper part of the game. You need to keep your Dungeon Keeper part of the game going to advance your city builder part. And it's actually pretty addictive, pretty fun, pretty quick to learn. Unlike a lot of city builders, you can kind of play through a session, so to speak, in like a day. Where, like I'm used to Anno, where it's like I've only put in 127 hours in this game, and I haven't, so I haven't quite unlocked the top tier of people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is a much more digestible city builder. Certainly something I would recommend for someone who wants a city builder but doesn't like the time commitment that a lot of them have.
Wow. And
a lot of fun writing and art style like you expect from SteamWorld games.
Sure. I mean, that definitely sounds good to me.
Yeah. To go back to Satisfactory. It's satisfactory. It has. I don't mean, as far as what I've played. Again, I haven't played that much. I've only played a few hours, and you takes a long time to unlock a lot of the good stuff in that game. It feels like it did in early access, maybe a bit more polished, but other than that, good to see that actually get a 1.0 release.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of good stuff to play right now.
Yeah. God damn. That looks pretty fun. Just looking at like the little bits of it.
Yeah. SteamWorld Build.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So yeah. I think that's all we got for this week. We'll be back soon with another episode. Thanks for listening. I've been Arvid.
I've been Mike. And you've been the listener. Bye. I'm actually really impressed that we went through the entire description of the game without ever once bringing up Prince of Persia, the Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
It's so boring. It's just like I don't even get angry. It's like I just want to walk away from it. Like that would be something like that would be a movie to put on if you want to like clear out of a party or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like, ugh.